Hey, Dr. Hawk, tell me how much student loan debt you graduated with.
Well, good morning. Oh, thanks. Uh, Student debt. So I had a little bit left over from college, but the bulk of it is from med school. So I think I've got a cool 280K racked up
Nice.
that I owe the government right now. So
78,000.
Student loan. You mean me or my dad? Actually, I don't have any loan because I graduated from Pakistan medical school, and medical school is very, very affordable. And
Moral of the story, don't go into med school in the United States. In fact, I've heard that college is free in Europe. So, once you graduate high school in the US, go to college in Europe, go to med school in Pakistan. No need to worry about these student loan debts. So it seems like the people who are homegrown here in the US, they're the ones who get screwed the most. Even besides velocity banking, I think this is just the main moral of the story. Go to Pakistan for med school.
less expensive than here. So my dad probably has some loan, but I didn't never had any.
Hey,
All
Dr.
right.
Hawk,
Dang. All right. So let's assume we didn't go to med school in Pakistan. Okay. We didn't go to med school in Pakistan. So we're going to have some debt. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and pay off with something called velocity banking. And so if our student loans, let's make some modifications. So our student loan is going to be 280K. And then our mortgage, we'll say it's a little bit more up there. We'll say 350, right? So I'm just going to make a few adjustments to this. And we're going to do something called velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? It's just basically a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt with the help of something called a line of credit. And we're going to assume that we have all this debt and we're making decent money as a doctor with $280,000 of debt. So if I make, let's say, $12,000 after tax, so 12K a month after tax, no, actually, let me just do after tax calculator, right? So let's just kind of do this right here. ADP, salary paycheck calculator, and then we get paid monthly, and their salary per year, we'll say, is what's 12? Actually, I'm gonna do this 200,000. Okay, so does that mean, yeah, so about 200,000 a year. Okay, reasonable. Take home $12,287.75. So let's use that number. Okay, a little bit more exact. All right. So, assuming we're a doctor and we didn't go to Pakistan, for med school, right? Because going to Pakistan and not having all this debt would have been pretty sweet, or at least med school debt. We're going to have a lot of debt, especially this $280,000 student loan, like our homegrown friend here, right? So, what we're going to do is just pay it off, something called velocity banking. And the first step to velocity banking is creating a budget. So we create a budget, we list all of our debts, right? And what we do here is in this velocity banking column, we're not going to save money, right? I know it's really crazy that we're not going to save money. So if you take a look at this checking account here, might be typical for a doctor, right? 12, 19 grand coming in. And then what we're going to do is increase this number called cash flow, right? So this is probably the hardest step for anybody, including doctors, which is there's this urge to save money, which we're not going to do. Okay, we're not going to save money. And we're also going to have access to something called a line of credit. So if you don't know what a line of credit is, basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So this is a $280,000 home equity line of credit. Where did my other line of credit go? Did it somehow disappear off the face of the planet? Oh no. That's not good. Oh, wait. Yeah, there it is. $373,500 home equity line of credit. So basically, what does this mean? You go to the bank's website, click a button, and they'll dump up to $373,500 if you have that as available limit. It's really easy to dump that much into a checking account. And by the way, if you don't know who I am and you're new to this channel, I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. Yeah, I did. And also another thing, if you don't know who I am, I have over $739,000 in credit limits in lines of credit. So anyways, all right, so if you're a doctor and you have all this debt, well, here's the thing. Most debts are pretty much all the same, right? Like a credit card is technically a loan, technically, okay? And what we're going to do is pay it off in a certain order so that we increase our cash flow. And then when we increase our cash flow, more debt gets paid off, and we're just going to cycle their debt over and over again. So what we're not going to do is work the banking system the way that the average American works it, which is you pay your bills and then you put leftover in checking and savings, right? So there's a fear that a lot of people have that if I put all of my money into debt, okay, all of my money to debt, how do I get it back? Well, with the line of credit, you could simply take that money back when you need it, right? So that's what we're going to assume we have access to. Maybe an 8%, I don't know, $100,000, we'll say $150,000 line of credit, 150. Although, how much credit card debt is this? I'm just putting a random number. But here's the secret to getting all these lines of credit. Okay, I'm going to show you the secret, is that banks don't lend money to people who need it. Okay, because unlike a student loan that's guaranteed by the government, if you have non-guaranteed government or non-government loans or whatever you want to call them, not guaranteed by the government, the way that it works is that the bank doesn't want to lend to people money to people who need it because people who need money don't pay you back. Yeah, I know, right? So, so what we're going to do is assume we have access to a line of credit, and then what we're going to do is move some debt into the line of credit and increase something called our cash flow. So if you don't know what the cash flow index is, basically a formula where you have debt divided by payment, and then it gives you an arbitrary number, and then you just kind of think of it as a ranking system. So why do you pay the debt off this way? Well, think about this. In order to get $2,300 back in my life, I have to give someone $350,000, whereas with this one, I only have to give $280,000, right? And then, with these, you get more bang for your buck. So what we're going to do is add up 5, 8, 15, 27, 30, and I'm going to sum them up, and that's $85,000 of credit card debt. And by simply moving that credit card debt into the line of credit, guess what happens here? All right, so we have now much more cash flow. So we literally went from, with the same income, we were broke, $485 to $3,312.84. Okay, $3,312.84. So now what we do is we do the final step, which is we take the entire paycheck, the entire paycheck, put it into the line. This is going to satisfy the minimum monthly payment, and we take our expenses out and then rinse and repeat over and over again, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So G2 plus H2 minus the cash flow, which is 3312.84. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, which is 0.08 divided by 12. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste. Copy and paste. And then we see that in month 29, it's all paid off, right? Month 29, it's all paid off. And then 29, so 29 months, and then that was 85K, right? 85K. Now I'll just go ahead and do this. Whoopsie, what did I do? All right, copy and paste. And then we have our loan calculator here. And at 29 months, right, what is the current balance of the debt? So what we do, we just use the same cash flow index. So this is our auto loan. And maybe this might be unrealistic because we have a $22,000 auto loan as a doctor. And when you go into the hospital, I don't know, maybe there might be some shame, social shame of moving in with the Toyota or going into the parking lot with the Toyota. Okay, so now we've done that. And so now this is $395. And so now, okay, we've increased our cash flow. We've done this. So 3708.15. Bam, bam. And then so now in 32 months, we paid off the auto loan. So I've done that. And then this is 0. Wait, that's not 0. So 32 months. And then that's going to be 85 plus 22, and it's going to be 107K. And then next one is student loan and the mortgage. So where are we with the student loan? So this is going to be 0, this is going to be 32, 32, and then we have $223,000 left simply because we did not go to Pakistan. Okay, so now because we did not go to Pakistan, okay, we have to pay this off. So what we can do is do something called chunking, which is moving a piece of the loan into the line of credit. So we go ahead and do that here. And let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to do this. And I actually want to go to Pakistan because I hear they have a pretty solid and tight, or at least they used to, arcade culture. And I love arcade games. So $280,000 is the original balance. The current balance is 223,267.95, 223,267.95. And then a 10-year, and then what's the interest rate is 7%, and then the payment amount is 3251.04, 3251.04. And then what is our monthly income as a doctor? 12,287.75, 287. Where did I go? 12,287.75. And then what's our living expenses? Our living expenses is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off right here. And let's go ahead and sum that up. So that's 5328.56. So let me put that here. 5328.56. And then we'll just do, let's say, 13 grand chunk. And then bam, med school paid off in 3 years. All right, so now what we do is do 32 plus 36, that's going to be 68 months. And then that's going to be 107 plus 280. It's going to be 387K. And then it's going to be 0. And then here, so 350,000 is our mortgage. Right, so 350,000 is our mortgage, and then now we just do the same thing, chunking it off. So this would be 68. So there's 0. So I just do the same thing that I did before. Now this is going to be a 30-year mortgage, right? Bam, 30, 0, and I think this would be, let me just see right here, $3,000 a month. And then this is going to be 2328.56, 2328.56. And then the original balance is, what's the original balance? 350,000. And then the current balance is 326,139.71. So 326,139.71. And then bam, paid off in 3.4 years. And then we're good. So it'd be 68. Divide by 12 plus 3.4, and then that'll be 9.07. Yeah, 9.07 years, and we're debt free. Isn't that easy? That was really relatively easy and simple. So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess like it's not a big deal, right? If you're a doctor, nurse, lawyer, engineer, that's not a problem. Or at least I don't think it is. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. This is Kareem Atlanta Mentorship here with another video. So have a great day, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye-bye.